hello, and welcome back to my podcast, Pulling Back the Curtain with Vinny Ali. I'm your host, Vinny Ali, and today we're joined by our friend of the show, Greg Faber. You may remember Greg from a prior episode we had earlier last year. Today we're going to focus on talking about purpose, but before that, we need to give a special thanks and shout out to West Chester Studios. I am in this brand spanking new studio space. I am super stoked. I have been blessed with this opportunity to have 30 minutes to work in this wonderful space, and I'm just a little excited, if you guys couldn't tell. So today we're going to focus on purpose. My mom was telling me this should be the newest thing because of our current climate. We should focus on what we can control and be more in tune with building relationships and building up ourselves to handle what's coming our way. I was at church the other day, and they were telling me this story about porpoise. That's right, the aquatic mammal. This little girl says, I really want a porpoise this year for my birthday. So she goes around and tells everyone, I'm going to get a porpoise, which is a aquatic mammal no bigger than a dolphin. Birthday comes, and she doesn't get a porpoise. She says, Mom, Dad, what's the deal? Oh, honey, we can't give you a porpoise. That takes years to figure out. No. I said porpoise, not purpose. Goes to grandma and grandpa. Why didn't I get a porpoise? Honey, people go their whole lives trying to find their purpose. I didn't really know what a purpose was, but now I wanted one. The point of the story is, in her pursuit to find a new best friend, she found her path in life, her purpose. So that's what I want you guys to do today. I mean, it's hard in this world to find a purpose that might be worthwhile. So my suggestion is find someone that has a purpose that is worthwhile, help them on their pursuit, and maybe you'll find your own. She wanted to have a porpoise, couldn't get one, but she found her purpose in helping the environment and giving back to the community. Greg, I heard from a little birdie that you yourself have a nonprofit with a pretty noble purpose.
Yes,
Would you mind
indeed.
telling us about it?
Yeah, so the nonprofit's called B Bedding and Housewares. What we do, we're a community resource for people experiencing housing crises and are also trying to transition to more stable housing.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So for those of you that know the podcast, I have 3 rules when it comes to my acting career and 3 rules in my life. What do I want? What's in my way? How am I going to get it? Greg, what do you want from this nonprofit? Tell me.
In a word, well, in a couple words.
You can have a couple words, buddy. We have time.
In a couple words, I want to be part of the solution.
Part of the solution, not the pollution.
Yeah.
Now, what is in your way?
Well, there's any number of there's financial, there's personal. It's funny you mention that because I've changed around what I want to do with the nonprofit a couple times now, which I think is good. I think it's good to be iterative, because you might look back and think, maybe the nonprofit needs to go in this direction to help more people, right?
Definitely. And you know what Marcus Aurelius used to say, you never step in the same river twice.
Right.
As you age, your priorities will change, and that's part of life.
Right.
I think that's great that you're going with the flow. Now, what's in your way are like the financial and everything like that. Now, how are you going to achieve your goals? What's your game plan?
Well, my game plan right now is I'm actually already putting it into place. I find that the greatest tool for the nonprofit is word of mouth. That's how it got started to begin with.
Yes.
And just through whether it's through my acting, my improv, just again word of mouth. People know people who know people, right?
For sure.
And there are a couple people I know. Again, whether it's first level of there's like 6 degrees of separation. So
7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, as it were.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Like I met Greg through Dinner Detective, as we mentioned earlier, and through Greg, I've met a multitude of other people, and he knows a multitude of people through me as well.
Right.
It's just how it goes.
Right.
So right now, so that's So you're focusing right now on just getting the word out there that you are helping the community.
Right.
You're providing a service.
Mhm.
Now, here's my thing. How can people get involved? We're going to put all the information in the podcast
Right.
description. But Greg, what's the best way to get in contact with you and say, hey, I want to be a part of this?
Yeah. Once we put all the contact information, we have the website's in process, but the email address is up and running. Uh, and actually, that's interesting that you said that. That's actually where I was going next. Was I need to spend a little bit more time on my end, time and energy.
Yes.
Actually, monitoring that email address to make sure that since I'm the president and CEO, I want to make sure that I'm putting enough time and energy to meet the people who are putting their time and energy into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like how Arnold Schwarzenegger says in Be Useful.
Yeah.
His 7 rules of success. If you're not invested, if you're not interested, why the hell is anyone else going to want to be a part of it?
Right.
That's the big thing. So I'm going to share with the audience a exercise that I learned. It's not mine. It's a very interesting concept. What you do is you take a piece of paper and you write down 10 things that you wish to accomplish in the next 12 months. But you do in the present tense. I will be rich with $100,000 in the bank. I will be living on my own. I will read 400 pages a day, daily, willingly. You go through it, and then you take a pencil, you take a Sharpie or whatever, and you say, you know what? If I could wave a magic wand, and this is the one thing that I could make happen right now, my life would be in a better spot. For me, that's completing my book, My Life as a Sitcom. After that, another piece of paper. Put the date. For me, that's November 11th. I will have written and published my book. And you start writing down all the necessary steps in order to make that happen. Prioritize it and work on it daily. So once you find your purpose, I suggest you do that. Figure out what you want to do, make a list, follow through with it every single day. And it doesn't have to be like, I'm going to save the whales by jumping into the ocean and fighting off all polar bears that are coming the way. I'm not sure if polar bears fight whales, but you see what I'm saying. It can be as simple as, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to wake up today and I'm going to write down 10 things that I'm grateful for. I'm priming the pump for goodness for the day. I'm going to write in my journal, my mission journal, everything I did yesterday to get me closer. I'm going to go for a walk today. I'm going to see if I have been living up to Ben Franklin's 13 virtues. I mean, it's really interesting because you go through and you say, did I live with temperance today? Did I live with sincerity today? And you check it off. And then you write out what you were going to do and what you actually did. I find this extremely helpful. And this, I put down my things that I'm grateful for every single morning. And then I'd focus on, what I can do to help move myself forward. I know it's a very roundabout way, but this is a brief idea of how my mind works. It is all over the place, but it's also connected. This book collects my thoughts, primes the pump. This book checks me if I am actually living with the virtues. This book reminds me of the mission, which is to be a leader, a father, and a son, a competent son for my mom. My firm belief is this: if you can't go to bed with a clean conscience, don't bother going to bed at all. Yeah. Yeah. That's just how I am. And when you have ADHD, you have notebooks for everything.
Right.
I've just kind of embraced it. Over here, you notice I have vision boards. Now, a vision board is usually a collection of pictures of things that you want in your life. I don't really have stuff that I want. I would like a car, yeah. I would like a vacation, yeah. But these are more mottos and phrases that I live by. You actually said one of them. Be a part of the solution,
Right.
not the pollution. Because we are all a part of this community. And at the end of the day, we're all going to go where we're supposed to go. So why not make it worthwhile? Why not live your life instead of just exist?
Yeah.
My first real purpose in life growing up was to be the world's greatest actor of stage, film, and voice work. There's not a lot of guys that look like me, and there's definitely not a lot of guys that sound like me. I have to change people's minds all the time as an actor. Whoa, you're 5'9", 200+ pounds, a brown man, but you don't have an accent. You don't play tough guys all the time. You can play soft, warm characters. Like, yeah, because I'm an actor first, ethnic actor second. That was my first purpose. And I tried. I worked very hard. I learned the craft. I got into it. I did stage for years. But then, like you, my purpose shifted. I pivoted into film. And I found great success. I enjoyed it a lot. But I was getting roles like terrorist number 6 over and over and over again.
Right.
Because I can throw on the accent, it's necessary. It's not that big a deal. It is one of the things I do. But God forbid you ask me to do my father's accent. As you all may know from the original episode, the origin episode, my father's in Bangladesh. He came over when he was 17 with his brother and hasn't left since. He warmly embraced Philadelphia to this day. Shameless plug. Go Birds, bleed green. We did it again. So I digress. And then I pivoted again into voice work because it didn't matter what I looked like. Right. I could get work that way. And I did stand-up comedy, and I've just been pivoting ever since. I've done so many different survivor jobs that you name it, I've done it. And they've all given me different essences of purpose. When I worked for a very big multi-billion-dollar company, if you know me, you know what I used to work at. I used to say, I'm trying to make that difference one day at a time, one person at a time. And it started as just a phrase I would say just to get through the day and to have an answer every time someone asked me a question. But one guy came up to me, and I was, going through the motions. He said, "You know what, Vince? You are. You have no idea how much I needed to be treated like a human today." That is my true purpose, to make people feel human. Yeah. Let them be seen. We have so many different media stereotypes that are imprinted upon us upon birth and beyond, that it makes it hard for us sometimes to see people as people. And the whole point of this podcast is a deep dive into the creative mind. I actually want to have people see the guy behind the curtain, to know who they are, where they came from, their struggles, their triumphs, their rifes, their all the things that brought them to this point in their lives. I want to know the secret of their success, how they define it, what brings them joy, and how the hell do they go through life when everything around them just seems so big and overwhelming. My mom, thanks again, Mom, for this topic. It's becoming much more apropos by the day. She used to say to me, "Look at the big picture, son." Yep. And just embrace life. Find joy. Right? And I've said this before, and I'll say this forever. The world could be coming to an end, like literally. Big swirling vortex in the sky. And my mom will look at it, and then she'll say, "What do you guys want for dinner?" Because she can focus on that. She can control that. Like Marcus Aurelius says, there is what is up to us and there is not up to us. And up to us is how we react to what's going on. And that's why I admire nonprofits. Because they are trying to do what others aren't. We have a chance to help our fellow human. It doesn't matter their color, their creed, or what have you. We all literally bleed red. We all have dreams and hopes and desires, and we all deserve a chance for dignity and grace, because that's what it means to be human. That's what I believe, and no one, and you can try to tell me different. Sorry, I talk too much. I started this podcast because I wanted a safe space to create during the pandemic. Right. And selfishly, I started it because I wanted to learn the success of my friends and compatriots and colleagues. And it feels good to be able to connect with people and share the way my mind works and others, and hopefully help encourage people to go for what's really important to them, to live, not just exist. I spent probably the better part of an hour dancing and singing to Motown music with my family, just 'cause. And I was so nervous to come in here. I was like, I got to get it right. I only got 30 minutes. I got to do this thing. But I realized that's part of my process for my purpose is to do the deep thinking, the deep thinking, the deep thinking, the deep thinking, the meditation, the vision boards, referring to these things and seeing, what it truly means to be me. And then living in the moment with my family. And it has allowed me to just, be here today. I literally would not be here without my family, without my mom, my dad, my friends, my brothers, my sisters that I met along the way. And it hurts that people forget that we were all on this planet. We're all in this existence for a limited time.
Right.
Why waste it just being angry? Anger has its place. It's a very effective emotion. I use it. I've lived with it for most of my life. In the origin episode, you guys heard about how my dad was my first bully. And I lived with that anger for a long, long time. And when I let it go in 2020, I felt empty. It's still there, but it's less heavy.
Right.
And now I'm more open. Greg, you talk. I talk too much.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned the anger, because that's one thing that kind of sometimes I too can get a bit overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I'm learning to get better at channeling the anger.
Yes.
And so that's like you said, once you finally learn to let it go, you just feel kind of hollow. You're like, well, you realize I've been spending so much time and energy on this. That's like, well, what do I do, right?
Yeah. And like what's interesting is when you accept that it's just a part of who you are. It's not anyone else's.
Right.
You don't want. I find myself not wanting to express it as much. I've not had a lot of experience with toddlers, but recently I've been blessed with the opportunity to hang out with this one particular toddler, and so many times I want to just like shake the baby and say, stop doing that, don't do this, don't do that. But then I just realize she doesn't know better, and it softened me. It has softened me as a person and made me feel more at peace with things. The same way I treat customers and customer service. They don't know they're being bad.
Right.
They probably had a really bad situation coming up. So the best thing I can do is to let them do their thing and treat them like a human, no matter what. Yeah. I mean, Al Capone said it best. Do not mistake my kindness for weakness.
Right.
Because it's not. Empathy and kindness are the greatest tools a human can have in their arsenal. Yeah. And this is going to sound crazy, but Batman is my favorite hero of all time because he is the most empathetic hero of all. Zero powers, zero anything except his wits and his body.
Because he's human.
He's human. He understands pain, the consequences of it, and how it can affect others. And he doesn't want anyone to go through what he went through.
Right.
That's why I gravitate towards him. Every single day I got knocked down emotionally and psychologically, but I kept getting back up because I know I can do better. I know I can try. Like trying is my God-given superpower.
Right.
And I may not get a lot of ROI, return on investment, outwardly, but I get a lot in here. And that's why I leap at every opportunity I can. For instance, being here in Westchester Studios. I mean, how crazy is this?
Damn.
On a whim, I did a sweepstakes and I won 30 minutes to work here. And I'm very grateful we got this opportunity. And Greg, you were available. You are never available. You're always working, man.
I know.
You are like a workaholic, and I respect that. But I'm grateful you made time for us today. Tell us about your nonprofit and why you're doing this.
Well, that's serendipitous. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Last year was all about serendipity for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I was at a company for a very long time, and then I got let go. And because of that, I fought, and I got my job back, and I met, Judah Priest of the 144 fame, the Chosen Few. And he was like, I'm making music up the street. You should come through. And I did. And he found out I was a voice actor. And now I'm doing voice work for him. I was celebrating my birthday party at the Sterling Pig in Media. Great little spot.
Yeah.
Not really a plug, but just a great little spot. And I'm just geeking out with my buddy Chaz. And all of a sudden, this guy comes up and was like, man, I got to buy you a drink. You guys are awesome. I'm actually a handler for some celebrities. They're coming to a convention. You should come through. And I did. And I met the one and only Steve Bloom. Steve Bloom, Wolverine, Spike Spiegel, Tom from Toonami, and a multitude of other, Starscream, multitude of people. He is a prolific voice actor. And when I met him, I was beside myself. I met him, and at the end, when he found out that I'm an actor and that I actually have him on my vision board, where he says, I suppose the biggest thing is that I'm in it for the right reasons. I love my job as much now as when I first began. I still feel fully invested in every audition, every job, large or small, every appearance, and every meeting with every fan. That spoke to me.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to retire from doing acting and voice work and writing. I want to do it well into my 80s, maybe 90s. I'd be cool at 86, personally. He said, I'll see you in the booth. Doing this podcast gets me closer to that. Reviewing my mission statement gets me closer. Figuring out if I'm living these virtues. Waking up in the morning, doing my 10 gratifications. I'm grateful for this day to live my life. I'm grateful for my mom, for opening her heart and her home to me, etc., etc. Meditating and just allowing my brain to just adjust, read a little bit before the day begins. Because I don't know about you, but as soon as 7 o'clock opens up, the whole world wants my attention. So I need that time for me so I can prepared. That's what the whole concept of having purpose is in life. When you have an overarching goal and then you find little things to do along the way to help you with that. My vision boards remind me to stay focused. And these are skills and habits, not hobbits, that are interested in developing and becoming a part of my DNA. Marcus Aurelius says, you have the power over your mind, not the outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Ted Lasso saying, and in the end, what's more important, being right or being kind? But my favorite, though, my absolute favorite, is on my first one. It says, what people think success looks like.
Right.
Straight line. But what it actually is.
Yeah.
This epitomizes my entire existence as an actor and as a human being.
Right.
I grew up in Virginia in a small town where your neighbor was half a mile one way, half a mile the other. You go outside and you can see every single star. My best friend was a dog named Max and a best friend named Bo, who was also a golden retriever husky mix. Great dog. You never know what your path is going to go on. But if you can find yourself a purpose beyond just getting up and making money,
Right.
it makes it easier to justify the choices you make. Because every choice you make gets you closer to something. And hopefully it's something you actually want. Yeah.
I wonder if I may call an audible here.
Bring it.
Okay, so in the nonprofit world, we have a mission, vision, values statement.
Yes.
That's like on the webpage, like that's right up there. So
Wait. Mission.
vision, and values.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So the mission is what you want.
Yes.
Right. And the vision is how you're going to get there.
Yes.
And the values is basically how you actually put your words into action. Right?
Yes.
So it's interesting. I wonder if I might ask you, because you've already, in a roundabout way, told us what your mission statement is in life.
Yeah.
But what is your vision and values?
My vision is that I live a life that people feel better after meeting me. My values is that I bring value to your life and you bring value to mine, so that when we leave this place, we can leave with a clean conscience. That's my vision, and that's what's the other part? My morals,
Vision and values.
my values.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important to me that people get something when they leave from me, not just a high five or a hug or a
Right.
fist bump or a death glare or a growl. Look, people upset me, so I will growl at them instead of actually talking. And my one friend Christy figured out my growls. Like, what are you doing? I cannot articulate to you in a way that's effectively going to help the situation. So I'm just going to go. But yeah, I like that.
That reminds me of when I used to do customer service.
Yeah.
There'd be many people that just like nothing I'm going to say is actually going to be helpful right now.
No.
So I'm going to groan and just walk away.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of humble pie.
Right.
When I was let go from the job again, I ate a month's worth of humble pie.
Oh yeah.
And it's bittersweet but helpful.
Yeah.
Again, that helped along with the process. So for my purpose, I look to my vision boards to figure out what I would like to have happen to me, to be grateful for what I have, reflect on the values that I'm hopefully instilling in myself. I'm never going to be perfect, but that's fine.
Right.
We want progress. And to remind myself daily of my mission statement, to be a leader, a father, and a son. A strong leader, a good father, and a competent son. Right. So we are getting closer to the end, unfortunately, kids. And fortunately, because now you have the tools to go forth and find your purpose. If you don't have one right now, look to Greg or someone that you admire. Help them with their purpose, and eventually you'll find your porpoise. I mean your purpose. I will wrap things up slowly but surely. There's a story about a little girl on the beach, right? And there's this huge storm, and there's starfish everywhere, all over the shore. She's running back and forth, chucking them left and right, chucking them left and right. This old man comes up and says, "Oh, you know you can't save them all." And she says, "I saved that one." And then he starts helping. Your contribution, no matter how small, can be very invaluable to somebody.
Yeah.
You just never know. Right. Okay. So, kids, my friend Christopher Shirk has his new book, the OC's Gift, Wolf of Vespin. We will link there. Courtney Akison is the wife, and she helped him finally make his dream come true as a book. And because of that, I'm actually writing my own book called My Life as a Sitcom. It's semi-biographical about how an actor who goes off to take on these big challenges and everything kind of resets back to one. But he keeps trying. That's his superpower. Greg, any final thoughts?
Yeah, something that was kind of persistent in my mind. My mom has a sticker on her fridge that says, "Happiness is not a destination; it's a state of being."
Like that. Good.
Yeah.
All right, kids. As always, I want to say that that which does not serve you does not deserve you. Be your own best friend. And remember, try to be greater than yesterday. It's not that hard. Well, this has been Pulling Back the Curtain with Vinny Ali, a deep dive into the creative mind, joined by our friend of the show, Greg Faber. Thank you, Greg, and thank you again, Westchester Studios, for housing us in our crazy journey as we do a deep dive into the creative mind. It has been a real pleasure, and I hope that you guys will join us in our next coming episodes. Greg?
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you, Westchester Studios.
Yes. Westchester Studios, folks, at 27 Turner Lane, Westchester, PA, 19380. Shamelessly plugging, but that's what we do. Pulling back the curtain with Vinny Ali. Thank you for your time.